What's up, everybody, and welcome once again to this edition of the Links and Locks Best Bets podcast presented by Bet365. I'm Jason Sobel from the Action Network. He's Ben Everill from the PGA Tour. As a reminder, the Links and Locks podcast proudly presented by Bet365, the world's favorite sportsbook brand. Sign up with promo code ACTION, ACTION, to get Bet365's exclusive sign-up offer. In New Jersey and Colorado, bet $1 on any game, get $200 for free. Benny, what's going on? How you been?
Hey, mate. Yeah, been good. Happy Thanksgiving to all those around the US and happy anything else that you may have been doing since we've last talked, across the world. If you're listening in to us for your betting information on the golf, mate, it was a good little break for me over here in the US and excited that we're getting to have the Hero World Challenge. A little bit of disappointed that we lost the tournament host, Tiger Woods, this morning with plantar fasciitis, but I'd rather him obviously do his best to get ready and be healthy and for anything that comes in the future. We know he's tipped to play in the match, obviously, against Jordan and JT with Rory, and hopefully he's able to do that and also play with his son Charlie in the PNC Championship. That's always a lot of fun as well. So let's hope he can get back on track quick.
Yeah, I know the selfish perspective for all of us golf fans is, hey, we want Tiger to play, but sometimes you got to sacrifice a little something. And if it means that Tiger remains healthier now and stays healthier later because he hasn't pushed himself too hard, maybe that will be a good thing. So in any case, he is replaced in the field by Sepp Straka. We have 20 players in the Hero World Challenge field at Albany in the Bahamas this week. And for regular listeners to the podcast, you know that we go through our favorite bets every single week, and we give our favorite outrights, top fives, top tens, top 20s, top 40s, matchups. Well, there aren't that many bets this week with only 20 players in the field. So what we're going to do is something a little different. Hey, it's the quote unquote silly season. We'll get a little silly with it. Ben, you and I are going to do a draft going back and forth where essentially we're going to pick a player based on his outright number. So it's like, okay, well, here, we're going to sell a ticket for, let's say, Jon Rahm, who's 5-1 at Bet365 this week. Are you taking Jon Rahm at 5-1, or do you want Ham Kim at 20-1? So it's not just picking the player and who you think is going to win. It's picking them at their odds this week. So let's get right into it. Benny, I'm nice. It's the giving season. I'll let you have the first pick.
Oh, you're going to give me the first pick? Okay. Well, I'm going to leave that favorite on the board for you if you want him, just because of that number at plus 500 you mentioned. I'm going to steal someone that's in great form and has a pretty good record at the Bahamas at Albany in there. And I'm going to take Tony Finau at 1,000, plus 1,000, 10-1. Tony Finau will be my number one draft pick this week because of those odds compared to the favorite there in Rahm. Obviously in good form, recent winner. I think he's going to have a massive season. We touched on this, you and I, speaking in the pod a few weeks ago. Look, he's riding the hot wave, right? And I think I said in the expert picks that'll come out tomorrow on PGAtour.com that in the past I have not picked Tony just about every time. And I realized recently that it was just an emotional thing. I just had bought into the hype. Maybe he couldn't close. Maybe he couldn't do this. And it was stopping me from really looking at what he's been able to do. Now we'll find out. Am I an anchor or not? Can he win with me on his back? That'll be interesting. But look, he's proven himself of late, and I think we're going to see something big for Tony in the next 12 months.
Well, there goes one pick stolen because he would have been my first pick. Benny, I will trade you a third rounder and a fifth rounder for the number one overall pick if you'd like to trade tickets now. Okay. You can have Tony.
I'll tell you, well, how about you get two in a row? You want two in a row now? We'll snake draft this thing.
No. We'll go let you have the first and the third. We'll keep it like that. I will just say that I love Finau. He's my favorite player on the board. He's obviously in good form. It is going to be a massive season for Tony Finau. I don't know if that means 4 or 5 wins. I don't know if that means his first major title, maybe both, but this is going to be a monster season. I don't want to say breakthrough season because Tony Finau has been a star for a long time now, but now that he's figured out, not only he's had the tools for a long time, but he's figured out how to play down the stretch with a lead. Yep. He's confident. He just looks like a different player. It's the Thursday morning Finau is the Finau we now see on Sunday afternoons as well. And he is so much more comfortable and confident in himself. I love it this week. Little stat for you, Benny. Since this tournament moved to Albany back in 2015, they played 6 previous editions. Nobody with longer odds pre-tournament than 12-1 has won this one. So we haven't seen a pre-tournament favorite win, but it's almost always been someone at the top of the board other than Henrik Stenson back in 2019.
I was going to say Stenson, yes.
Yeah, 5 of the 6. Sorry, I misspoke there a little bit, but 5 of the 6, and 4
of
those
still
6
a trend
have been inside the top 4 on the odds board coming in. So Tony Finau fits the profile perfectly. With my first pick, I will go with another guy that fits this profile pretty well this week. We talk about motivation this time of year. Look, half the guys in the field are going to go to the Bahamas, and I'm not saying they're going on vacation, but I'm not saying they're going on vacation. You and I have been down there before. There's some times where you're walking around the casino late at night and you might meander past the high limit tables and see a couple of players late at night, maybe even with a tournament round the next day. And just got to think, you know what? I don't know that this is necessarily a full business trip for this guy. I think he's just kind of, he's playing golf. He's not trying to make bogeys, but he's not exactly fully engaged in the task at hand. That said, I want a guy who's motivated. Justin Thomas, to me, is a guy who doesn't take vacation trips. Justin Thomas is fully motivated. He only goes on business trips. He's 12-1 this week at Bet365. I like JT as a play. And for JT to, knowing that Tiger's not in the field, but he'll still be there as tournament host, for his buddy Tiger to have to hand him a trophy at the end of the week, that's enough of a carrot that's dangling in front of his face that he's going to go out and play well.
Yeah, I would, echo that. Like, he would love nothing more than to be the winner with Tiger there to hand him a trophy. Clearly, those two have a great relationship. As I think you mentioned, he's been 5th, the last 2 years there. He showed signs that he can play well there. I think Thomas is going to be business. So I had him high on my list and potentially as my next pick. So you've taken that from me. So I'm just going to be boring. And number 3, I'll take the favorite before you get him. So I'll take Rahm just because he's won 2 of the last 3 starts I think he's played in the DP World Tour, etc. He's also a previous champion, 2018, the 2018-19 season, and runner-up the year after that in his last 2 visits to Albany. So as bad as the number is at plus 500, I'll take it in case he just comes and dominates with my number 3 pick.
Yeah, I like that. Obviously, he's the favorite for a reason, coming off that DP World Tour Championship just a few weeks ago. So that makes a whole lot of sense. I'm going to stick with the profile. And granted, it's a trend. I get it. Trends can be broken, and especially when it's a betting trend. This isn't necessarily like, hey, it's only a player who's one of the favorites, but not the favorite. That doesn't necessarily mean anything moving forward, but that's the way it's worked more often than not at this event. And so I'll go to Xander Schauffele at 11-1, who I think, look, he's one of the most talented players in the world. We know he can win on any given week. Again, comes down to motivation. Xander, another guy that I just feel like he doesn't show up without trying to go play his best golf this week. So I like Xander.
Yeah, I've mentioned many times he's one of my favorite American players just because of his bulldog spirit and tenacity. And he again, another guy that won't be there to mail it in. He'll be there looking to win. Okay, now we're looking at some value. All right. You know what? Bet365 does their bet boost. I'm going to play that right here. Instead of the 16-1 that you can get off the normal board, you can bet boost for 20-1. Collin Morikawa hasn't had a great year, but 20-1 for the guy who led by 5 during the final round a year ago in this event, before crashing to a 76 in that final round to a T5. I will take the 20-1 odds that he can, fresh off his recent marriage, can come there and enjoy himself and have a good time there. So I'm going to go take that bet boost 20-1 and use the 5th pick on Collin Morikawa for a bit of value.
That feels like cheating. I don't know if I like that. I didn't know we were doing bet boost in the podcast thing. All right, I guess you get Morikawa at 20-1. What a promotion there.
You could have got Rahm to lead wire to wire 1600, but no thanks. There's your bet.
All right,
boost.
well.
Oh no, here look, Finau. I can get Finau at 12-1. I didn't even notice that. He's also on the bet boost. So I'm taking him at 12-1 in that first pick.
Well, all right. Yeah. Okay. You got Finau. You pick Finau first at 10-1. I'll take him at 12-1. How's that sound?
Yeah.
All right. For my next pick. Oh, let me get some value. Let me go down the list. We've taken a bunch of guys who are more near the top. We get a guy at 28-1 who all he does is win when he gets into contention. Max Homa, new father. He's got the little baby bump. Hey, hashtag perspective for a guy that knows all about the old golf Twitter angle of getting that perspective. Max Homa, like I said, he doesn't contend without winning. If he gets into the hunt, this is a guy who's been sort of the anti-Finau until we saw Finau start reeling off victories. Finau would come close and never quite get into that winner's circle. Max Homa is a guy that comes close and does the deed. He pulls it off. So he has had a trophy handed to him from Tiger Woods in the past at the Genesis Invitational. So let's see another one perhaps this week.
Yeah, like I was going to say, the big thing there is he loves playing well in front of Tiger. He's, idolized Tiger his whole life. So also was sitting here hoping you were going to miss him and I was going to get him down the line in this draft, but so be it. All right, well, I'm going to take the next guy that I like that's a bit of a sneaky compared to what other people have got him. I think it's about 20-1. Another guy who hasn't not played this event before, but is a ball striking machine, showed some form in the fall. I'm taking Tom Kim. Tom Kim at 20-1 also loves Tiger, also gets to finally meet Tiger, which has been on his bucket list. I think Tom Kim will be definitely revved up to prove himself. And Tom Kim can't necessarily go out late at night and get all the hijinks on. His parents will be there, I think.
Good point.
Yeah, so I think Tom Kim 20-1 looks good to me with the 7th pick.
It's a nice play. All right. I'm going pure value here. 18-1 is a bigger number than Sam Burns usually is at some full field events. And so I just feel like that's a really good number on a guy who we all know what kind of talent he has. I've said it so many times on this podcast and other places, but I don't think there's that much of a difference between Scottie Scheffler and Sam Burns. And I get it. I'm not saying that Scottie Scheffler had the same type of year. He won the Masters. He won 4 events. He deserves every accolade that's come his way. You give me each of those players over the next 5 or 10 years, good friends, the two of them. I'm not so sure that from here on out, Sam Burns doesn't have the better career. I think it's very, very close. I'll take Burns at 18.
Yeah, he's 30 a year ago, had a 65 in the second round. Was in better form coming into this last year. Had a bit of a shocker there in Houston, but if he's got things dialed in, he could absolutely win this thing straight up. So sitting there on my radar as well. But now I've got to go to the 9th pick. There's one I want to take, but I'm going to take the better value here. Okay, I'm going to go with another former champion of this event. But last time we played it was dead last in the field. Jordan Spieth. I'm going to take the 20-1 for Jordan Spieth. Yes, he was 20th last time and 16th the time before that. Different player now. That was when he was in that massive funk, struggling and getting exemptions just to be there. He's proven he can win in Albany. I remember he did it the year he did. I'm pretty sure he went from the Australian Open, which he just won, flew straight to the Bahamas and won that too, or something along those lines. Yeah, look, guy who knows the course, guy who'll enjoy the time too. I'll take the value there, 20-1, Jordan Spieth, 9th pick.
Fun story for you. You mentioned he's a past winner of this event. This was back when it was at Isleworth for 1 year, I think 2013 or 14. And so his caddy, Michael Greller, stayed at my house for the week, and we were hanging out all week. And on Saturday night, we just kind of hung out in the driveway, had a couple of beverages with some of the neighbors. They came over, just kind of, nice, relaxed hangout. And Greller's talking to some of the neighborhood folks, and a couple of my buddies' wives are asking, "Oh, so what are you in town for on business?" "Yeah, I'm here. I'm working." "What do you do?" I'm a caddy on the PGA Tour." "Oh, who do you caddy for?" "Jordan Spieth." "Oh, how's he doing?" And I believe on Saturday evening he was up. I could be wrong about this, but it was a big margin. I think it was like 9 shots. He goes, "Oh, we're doing pretty well. He's leading by 9 right now." And the neighborhood wives, who don't really know much about golf, they go, "It's nice. Good luck tomorrow. So hope you win." And it was one of those, like, I kind of think he's going to win. I don't think he needs the luck. So, yeah, good story there. But yes, they did indeed wind up winning the next day. So I like the Spieth play. I will go back to a former champion as well, a guy who won at Albany a few years ago, Viktor Hovland. Just seems like this is a Hovland type of venue, plays well in these coastal events. I had him on the radio show on Sirius XM a few weeks ago, and I asked him, what is it about a guy from Norway who plays his best golf in like these warm weather coastal events? He's like, I don't know. I have no idea. He's like, I like it. You know, who doesn't like being near the beach and being in warm weather? But he doesn't have a rationale for it. He doesn't have a reason why he plays well in these, but I don't either, but I like him this week. So how about that? Big greens, resort course. He doesn't have to chip too much from around the greens. That helps.
Yeah, no, last start when he first started in that event, pretty big stuff from Hovland. And just then when I was trying to figure out my next pick, it was between Jordan and Hov. So you got the guy I would have gone to next. All right, let me give you pick number 11. I'm going to, again, look for some value down this board. Okay. Let's go another 20-1. Recent winner. T3 in his only appearance at this before. Tommy Fleetwood. Take Tommy Fleetwood. If the wind gets up, he knows how to play in the wind. With the value of the 2000, I'll take Tommy Fleetwood with pick 11. T3, I think it was in 2017 in that 17-18 season, to the end of 17. And as I said, won in South Africa just a few weeks ago. So I think that means that he's got some form. He also was T4 at Congaree recently, I think, for the PGA Tour event there. So he's been showing some form. So I'm going to go with the hot hand in that way, so to speak. Number what is he now? About 23 in the world. So everyone's inside the top 33 in the world, obviously, in these 20 players. So some good stars.
Yeah, that's the thing about this. Where this is the 12th pick in, and I'm still looking at players like, oh, we've got a bunch of really good players left, and I could see them winning. You bet the field this week, bet everybody. I'm going to leave some of those shorter numbers on the board right now. We're recording this on Monday evening, Ben. I'm not sure if Sepp Straka is on a plane yet. I'm not sure if Sepp Straka has ever been to the Bahamas. I'm not sure if Sepp Straka knows anything about the golf course, but Sepp Straka just got the golden ticket. It's like he just got a phone call saying like, hey man, what you doing? You want to come down to the Bahamas this week and play some golf? Free paycheck, world ranking points. What do you think? It's like, yeah, sure, man. Hey, you never know. I mean, something like this could just kind of spark him into going out and playing some good golf. We've seen when he's on, the ceiling is high. The floor can be pretty low. I understand that, hey, he could finish in 20th very easily this week, and the floor could be low. But if we're just buying tickets here for outrights, why not Sepp Straka at 80-1?
Yeah, well, you've taken the long odds, right? You've given yourself that chance. You've given yourself a long shot. They can all win. We know that. They can all win if they do their best. So that's good strategy at this point in the draft. And you've got me second guessing my next pick because of it. But I don't want to leave him on the board any longer. Ball strikers tend to do well here. I'm going to take Sungjae Im. Only 14-1, but I'm going to take Sungjae. Never played here before, so no value to talk about there. But just the fact that Hovland won, Morikawa was playing so well, that's the same type of player. Spieth, like, it's not necessarily a bomb and gouge place. It's just get it in play and make enough putts to do well. So I don't want to leave Sungjae Im on the board any longer than 13.
Same page. If I knew you were going to take Im there, I would have gone Im instead of Sepp with the last pick. I was going to leave him on the board for one more, and you stole him from me. So that's good work by you. Okay. This is like an Aaron Rodgers type of drop down the draft where, we've left him alone sitting in the green room for too long. Scottie Scheffler, the former number one player in the world, the reigning Masters champion who found some form recently. He's sitting there. The reason we haven't taken him yet, and I assume I'm speaking for you as well, Benny, isn't because we don't like Scottie Scheffler. It's just because we don't like that number sitting next to his name at 8-1. Give me Scottie at 10-1, 11-1, 12-1. It sounds a whole lot better than 8-1. That said, it is what it is, and I'll take Scottie.
Yeah, it was. He probably said it there a bit too long, but you're 100% right. It was just the number. Had that number been 12, I'm in right away. And I'm hoping theoretically that he's, because someone usually goes low, right? So someone throws out a 64 in the first round and he puts up a 69. That number might be 1600, and then all of a sudden you're starting to think, okay, yep, because it's, anyone's game when the wind gets up, and you only got to put one low one to catch up on everyone else. So,
and you make a great point there, Benny. This is a really good event to maybe just wait and see. There's some short numbers on the board right now. We remember what happened with Collin Morikawa last year. He coughed up that big lead going into Sunday, and Hovland wound up winning. Just wait and see what happens, and maybe you can get a bigger number on some of these guys after a first round 70 that really isn't all that bad anyway on this golf course.
Yeah, like I said, you can never see a guy that has a bit of an off day putting, but his ball striking's on, and he finds himself six back. Well, maybe day two he's going to make those putts. So, start to keep an eye on those things. It's certainly a fun one to bet live and ride the wave, no doubt about it. All right, well, you've taken Sheff off the board, so now where do I get my value with what's left? Let's see, 15th pick. I am going to go. Ooh, all right, stay in. Oh, here's my value pick in inverted commas. I'm going to take Corey Connors, another ball striker, 33 to 1. I'll take him in the 15th slot of 20. Corey Connors, one of the long shots, again, basically because he's a ball striker, and that's been the trend of late.
Yep. Same number, same discussion, another ball striker at 33 to 1. A guy who also doesn't do vacation trips. This is a guy who only does business trips. Billy Horschel is there to show off what Billy Horschel can do. I mean, it's really sort of set up well for Billy Horschel. It's probably more of I believe there's DFS on DraftKings this week. He's probably a better DFS play. You probably get him. I haven't honestly looked at DraftKings yet, but he's probably a pretty good value on there for DFS this week. In a field where you've got to do something a little bit different. Billy Horschel towards the bottom of the board is a guy who's going, oh man, I'm looking around the range and I'm seeing all these great players and I can go beat them this week. Yeah, let's go. I mean, Billy's like one of those guys who's like super pumped to be there and be in this field and try to beat these guys.
Okay, obviously I've got these handful of guys left. I'm trying to work out the numbers. I think the value is right smack in the middle of these four. So I'm going to take the third highest one on the board, that's what's left, and think about hoping the wind gets up and ugly. Shane Lowry for me, 22 to 1 in that 17 slot. I'll take Lowry at 22 to 1 just because there's forecast wind. And if anyone can handle wind, it's the Irishman.
I thought if it's anyone can handle wind, it might be an Englishman. So I'll take the U.S. Open champion, Matt Fitzpatrick, sitting there at 14 to 1. And, it's funny. I still, even now, I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, it's a ball striker's golf course, but especially if the wind's blowing in on some of the longer holes, you got to bang it out there. And I'm thinking, well, Fitzpatrick, he's a shorter. What I've got to get that out of my mind. He is not a short hitter by any means. He bombs the ball now. I think you look at him and he looks like a little kid. So you're like, he doesn't hit it anywhere. Matt Fitzpatrick absolutely mashes the ball these days. And so I'll throw him in there at 14 to 1. We've got 2 plays left. Look, I hate to do like, one of these guys is going to win this thing, and one of us is going to wind up the winner of this podcast because we waited till the 19th and 20 picks. So go ahead. You've got Cam Young or you've got Kevin Kisner. Who are you going with?
Oh, this is tough, and I'll tell you why. Because one's 16 to 1. That's Cam Young. One's 75 to 1. And I obviously preferably I like Cam Young as a player and what he can do, and I think he's going to do. But because you've got all the high odds on the board, I've got to cover myself here. So I am going to leave you the young gun, the rookie of the year, and take the 75 to 1 Kisner, just because you've got the 80 to 1 man, and I need to cover that back bet because, as I said, anyone can do it. And Kisner's got a chip on his shoulder always. He's played this event twice. He was inside the top 10 one time. If he gets it going and feels like he's the forgotten man, maybe he can get that chip to ride all the way to something special. But yeah, I'm going to leave you with the youngster who's not played this course before in Cam Young, and I'll take Kisner.
Well, folks, we were trying to do this as a draft and go back and forth and pick our favorite players. It may very well wind up being a process of elimination where we knocked out 19 names and we left Cameron Young, the reigning rookie of the year, as the last guy on the board. And again, this probably has very much like Scottie Scheffler remaining on the board too long. Probably more to do with the number, a guy who is yet to win at the highest level than anything else. He's 16 to 1 this week. You look at a guy like Collin Morikawa at the same number. You look at Sam Burns at a bigger number than Cameron Young. Quite frankly, I think this number is too short, but Cameron Young is going to win something at some point pretty soon. Why not something like this? So why not beating up on 19 other players? And if it happens, boy, we're going to look really silly, Ben, for going through 19 other picks before we got to them.
This is an event, mate, that's, giving guys, some real impetus into the new year when they've done well, like at this time of year. So especially young guys. I remember young Jordan Spieth, as you mentioned earlier, he was a winner in Australia and came and won this. And then that was prior to that 2015, where he won the FedEx Cup, won everything, was, winner in the first two majors, almost won the third. That was a huge year. And it was, he took it back to that time, going to Australia, winning at the Hero, to sort of pinpoint where he could go from there. He was struggling a little bit to close before that. So Cameron Young fits that bill, doesn't he? This could be something he gets done. And we could see Finau, same thing. He's been winning of late the last year. He could sort of keep rolling, win this, and springboard into that big year we spoke about. Someone like Fleetwood, I mean, he could win this thing and then all of a sudden pop up and just have a massive 2023. So it's, Tom Kim's another I could see winning this and then just going gangbusters again through the whole of next year. So it's not like it's the hardest event that they'll play, but it's certainly something that they can garner some sort of momentum off into the new year. So the guys who turn up and actually have a go have got plenty to play for and plenty to ride into that new calendar year.
Really funny, Ben. You and I break down 144, 156 man fields on a regular basis. This one, with only 20 guys in the field, should seem a whole lot easier because, hey, there's not that many names to go through. And yet it almost seems more difficult because, quite frankly, I could see anybody on this list winning this golf tournament this week. Makes it really tough. So hopefully we've helped you guys out in settling some of your bets, especially some of your outrights. As a reminder, guys, the Links and Locks podcast, proudly presented by Bet365, the world's favorite sportsbook brand. Sign up with promo code ACTION, ACTION, to get Bet365's exclusive sign-up offer in New Jersey and Colorado. Bet $1 on any game, get $200 for free. Thanks to everybody out there for listening to this edition of the Links and Locks Best Bets podcast, presented by Bet365. For Ben Everill, I'm Jason Sobel. A reminder, you can find us everywhere you find your favorite podcast. We'll start up next year in January in Maui. Maybe we won't be in Maui, but we'll be thinking of the pineapples and the humpback whales there, and
the Mai Tais.
I was getting there. So we're gonna have a few weeks off from the podcast, but wishing everybody out there a happy holiday season. Remember, you can download, subscribe, rate, and please listen every week during the meat of the golf season. For Ben Everill, I'm Jason Sobel. Good luck with all your bets for this week's Hero World Challenge. Here's hoping you hit the green.